Okay, we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Minutes and reports received and filed.
We do not have any work today.
Okay, Commissioner Committee liaison reports, upcoming meetings and events.
Another VTA lunch today. We do have another commission meeting this afternoon for the senior tax freeze. Looks like Friday, fish fry at Towson and this St. Martin's also.
And the cathedral.
The
Gotta mention,
cathedral.
yeah, for Mark Ruther, he
Yeah.
cries.
He's not here to get me filled in here. And then there is an open house out at the St. Stanislaus, St. Margaret's Community Hall out in Wardsville Saturday, and I think I got 4 to 8 on my calendar, but I don't think that time is right. So, I think that's about it till next week.
In addition to that, Mid-Mo Regional Planning Commission meeting on Wednesday in Ashland, and Friday, a Heartland Port Authority meeting.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of meetings, but Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I'm gonna be playing with the Department of Defense and the National Guard, so, even though I don't get paid for it. I'm furloughed. And then Sunday is the Westphalia Historical Society's annual meeting. So everybody go to Osage County. And that is all I have. Commission comments. Okay, we're gonna move along because we've got presentation from staff consultants, invited guests, Jefferson City Cole County Cooperative Project update. Eric has to be out here quick, and then we've got Curtis with Architects Alliance who has to be out here pretty quick, so.
So, we will give an update on the city-county cooperative projects. And first, everybody knows David Baney, city engineer, and we have a new guest, Kyle Bremer. He's the new public works director for the city.
Where's your tie?
I dressed a little more informal for you today, Sam.
So, he,
Thanks for having me today.
he kind of showed me up last week at the Chamber Transportation Committee meeting, so I figured I'd dress up a little bit. But glad to have Kyle on board the city, and we felt like it'd be a good opportunity to come and talk to you. It's been a little bit since we've given an update on the projects. But we'll go through them. I'll start off on the few that the counties, of this sales tax cycle, that the counties led. And so the two that we've been doing are the CART Capital Area Rail Terminal and then the Wildwood Drive Extension. And then David and then Kyle, they could talk about the ones that they're leading, the efforts they're leading. So for the CART, the Capital Area Rail Terminal, really the project's done. It's closed out. We're in the warranty period with the contractor. It did take a little bit longer due to making sure the oil terminal part of it was set up. Rail cars came in a few weeks ago for the first time, and they're taking delivery. Everything's been going like it should. I haven't heard any issues, so a very successful project. Good collaboration between city and county funding, county leading the project, and then several grants, and then private partnership with capital, and then running the oil terminal, and then being the operator for the CART itself, and then also Jefferson City Regional Economic Partnership. So great success story there. A good group coming together to make a good project happen, and good opportunities going forward with that. And then the Wildwood Drive Extension, that's the big one right now. As we know, that project was bid and awarded, came in a little over budget, a little over estimate, but it's a good project, and we got a good contractor, local contractor doing that work. And they started clearing a few weeks ago, and I was just told today that they're moving equipment down to the Edgewood side, and they're gonna be clearing on that side. So residents traveling in that Edgewood corridor will see activity real soon. And so the clearing has to be done by the end of this week, into March, to meet the requirements for clearing of bad habitat. Yeah.
We gotta get everything done.
We don't want them coming to roost on us, so we'll get all the tree clearing done this week. And I was also told that Ameren, there's some relocation work that has to be done up near where the roundabout's gonna be constructed, so they'll be in there starting that work in a few weeks. So everything's going like it should. That project is very big, a lot of work, a lot of different pieces and parts to it. The developer, John Farrer, he's working with the city to get his plan approved. I believe that's on the agenda next month for P&Z, and he'll start on his project as soon as he can. And he's relocating his project manager up here to run that for him. So, good cooperative project there. And yeah,
As the bills come in to be paid, walk me through that.
for the Wildwood. Okay, so pretty standard process. And so the way we work with the city and us, it depends on who's leading the project. So the city will pay us whatever the amount was in the agreement. It's $2 million. And so we'll have that money. And then when bills come in, we pay them every 2 weeks, or we process progress payments.
Do we have that 2 million?
Yeah, I was told that it was approved to send, so yes.
Yeah, I don't know if you've actually received it, but it's
Yeah.
been approved to send to you all.
Yeah, so it's approved and it's on the way, so,
Okay.
yeah. Just one more thing about Wildwood, we did have to, the city's working on the signal, there's some modifications to the signal down at Edgewood, that's being worked on, and then also, we had to wait a little bit to know what the development was gonna bring as far as electricity and lighting, light poles, power poles, to determine exactly what the lighting arrangement's gonna be through the corridor. And so, once we know exactly what that is, we'll be able to plan the lighting through there.
So that 2 million that comes from the city is probably gonna be expended within calendar year?
No, for sure,
25?
yeah. Well, the project it's over $6 million, the contract, and, you know, it depends on timing and all that. We won't be completely paid out by the end of the year, but the bulk of it will be, so.
So what approximately what's the completion date on?
It's 330 days from the notice to proceed date. I think that equals maybe the second week of January, but with that work, the road has to be opened up before it gets too cold, because asphalt can't be laid when it gets too cold. So
Thanksgiving.
it'll appear like it's done by Thanksgiving or very early December.
Good.
There'll be cleanup work, but yeah. Any more questions about those two projects? Okay. I'll turn it over to David if you want to go through the others.
Yeah, so I think the next one kind of on the, it's furthest along certainly is Monroe Street. And so if you guys have poked your head out that direction, you can certainly see some of the work that's happened there. At the beginning of the project, we had closed off access to Monroe Street from the expressway to work on the driveways that are, one of them into the building where Bartlett West is, the other to the dentist office and other buildings on the other side. So that part of that project's been done, and so now we've shifted the traffic control so that if you wanted to get to any of those businesses that face the expressway, you'd actually come from the expressway side. And now we've closed the section basically from those driveways to Dunklin Street. And so that part of the project is underway. I think they have most of the asphalt torn out there and are working on some of the grading and stormwater in that area. Later on next month, about halfway through the month, I think it's anticipated that we would jump across Dunklin and start working on the piece on the south side of Dunklin down to the alley, which is the extent of that project. Work on that, and then towards the end of April, we would actually then close the intersection of Dunklin. So basically the whole project will be closed. It'll be about 50 days, I think, is what Meyer Electric has told us it would take them to build that signal. And then certainly by that time, you know, the asphalt plant will be well up and running. We'll lay the asphalt on that street, and it should be open probably by late summertime. So that's kind of an update on that project. Happy to answer any questions about that if you have any. Okay. So then the High Street Viaduct, you know, is a project that we still is ongoing. We have Bartlett and West working on the design of that project. The most recent activities with that project have been some geotechnical investigations and then also some archaeological investigations, to sort of feed into the 106 permits. So the geotechnical, I don't think turned up too much that wasn't anticipated. But one of the issues with kind of the geotech and then kind of as it blends into the railroad, I guess one of the railroad requirements regards retaining walls that were within 50 feet of the tracks, even though it's not on their right of way. And so there has to be some special provisions that have to go into that wall that's on the western end of that project to account for the railroad's requirements for retaining walls. So we don't know exactly what that is yet, but typically it's either if you're going to go with a MSE panel, it's going to have to be a thicker, heavier panel, or it's going to have to be a cast-in-place wall. So that's sort of something that we weren't really aware of when we started the project. But otherwise, kind of on the grant front, the city had applied for a BIP, a Bridge Improvement Program grant, to help fund that project. We weren't selected for that, and then there was indication that we could have a kind of a debrief about what we could change or improve with that grant application for a second application, but we haven't heard back from the feds in that regard. They basically let us know that it was our turn to sort of request that debrief, but then the channels went quiet, so we're not entirely sure what happened there. So that's what's happening on High Street. We really expect the preliminary plans are essentially finished. The consultants had indicated they would like a little more time to address this wall issue with the railroad, and then would be sending us those drawings for review. And that's what I have on High Street, or on the viaduct.
David,
Yeah.
how close is that wall to the siding today?
It's probably within about 25 feet of the tracks at that point. So, and I don't know that it's a huge deal, but for perhaps we would have been able to make use of some of that existing wall. And maybe that's still possible, but it kind of throws that up in the air at the moment. Then we'll jump down to Edgewood and Stadium and Creek Trail. So we have been working with, we sent an RFQ for consulting services for the design of the roundabouts there on West Edgewood, one at Stadium and one at Creek Trail. We selected ES&S to do that design, and we've been working with them to develop a scope and fee for that. We've had a couple of meetings, and I'm anticipating for them to get us that information here in the next couple of weeks, and then ultimately would be looking to enter into a contract with them for that design. In the meantime, we have also we worked an agreement and ultimately a purchase of property from the lot that's on the corner of Creek Trail Drive and West Edgewood. It was purchased by Dr. Glenn Tubner, and currently there's a dentist office that's being constructed on that site, but we were able to work with them in positioning their building and parking lot such that the corner that we would need for these roundabouts would still be available. And so I think it was last Friday or the Friday before last, we actually purchased that corner of that property from them to sort of set us up for the potential roundabouts. So again, we hope that there'll be a construction contract or a design contract ready to go here in the next couple of weeks for that design. Ultimately, we don't have funding for the actual construction of those roundabouts. That would be something that we would be looking at potential future sales taxes to fund. And then the other project, or another project, the Madison Street project, not a lot to report there. Ultimately, we have been discussing the fact that we would like to get that designed yet this year. Basically, what we're imagining that to be is a reconstruction of the stormwater system as necessary, the rehab of all the sidewalk ramps to make them ADA accessible, and then some full depth replacement on areas of the pavement that are in disrepair, and then ultimately an overlay. So we're looking at that project, and from a cash flow standpoint, You know, depending on if anything happens on the viaduct or not, you know, we might have to push that project back just from a cash flow standpoint. But if nothing moves forward on the viaduct and that money just kind of remains there, then perhaps the Madison Street project could, in theory, be done next year. But we'll have to kind of see from a cash flow standpoint where that ranks. And then sort of the last project, which is actually a project from a previous sale, from the previous sales tax, is Chestnut Street. And so that project is nearing completion. We've got an email from the design consultant. Those plans, the final plan should be coming to us by the end of the month, which is less than a week from now. We're looking, you know, probably, you know, in the schedule, we've got about a month scheduled for kind of review and final adjustments on those plans. Contracting, and ultimately would hope to have construction ready to go sometime in July of this year. So that project is going to be a little tricky in its construction, just simply because of all the other activities that are going on. Obviously, the State Health Lab is in full swing, and then ultimately this coming Thursday, we're going to be opening bids on the River Market, and so there'll be a project basically on both sides of a road that we're trying to rebuild. So that'll be, there'll be some issues with coordination there, but certainly we think we can get through them, but it'll probably cause a little angst as the project moves forward. So I think those are all the projects that we have on our joint projects category, so I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
On the Chestnut,
Mhm.
is the state putting some money into this?
Right, the state had agreed to pay for half of that project. Now, exactly what they meant by half, I think we're still, that's still kind of in the lawyer's hands. But ultimately, yes, they had indicated that they would pay for half of that.
If the state pays for half, is it 1.5 or 2 that we've sent over there for that?
We put it roughly about 1.5, and then the city had a little over 1, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
We'll see. I mean, it's ultimately, the estimate for that project that they put together back in January was about $2.8 million. So we'll have to, you know, ultimately we'll have to see how that all comes out and sort out the money at that point.
This comment should probably not be addressed to the engineer or to the public works director, more to someone else at the city. But I think the county sent $1.5 million in May of '21 for this project. If we'd have held on to that money until today, when you say, we need the money now because expenses are coming in, our treasurer says we would have made $176,000 of earnings. So that money's just been sitting, as far as the county is concerned, idle. I don't know if it's been idle for the city or not. And then when you also bring into the discussion, not you, but coming into the discussion, is the state's gonna perhaps share in the cost. Does that wipe out the city's cost? Or are we still 50-50 or whatever the plan was initially? But if there's some new money coming, I think it has to be shared. But it's, again, not addressed to the engineer, to the public works director, but someone else at the city needs to answer some questions.
so I know Kyle and I have talked. We do have, I mean, we have, city and county has been talking about the next sales tax cycle. You know, it's one thing to work on getting that passed. You know, there's different avenues that we could go down there, but the other side of that is coming up with the city-county cooperative projects. And that's a pretty big deal. And, you know, there was a few mentioned, the High Street Viaduct, Edgewood Corridor, projects like that that would carry into the next sales tax. But then there's other projects too to be thinking about. So, you know, if there's some money remaining from the Chestnut Street, maybe that could be worked into another agreement or something.
And we are coordinated with the city in terms of our current public improvement sales tax expires 12/31/26, correct? And
Yeah.
yours it's the same date?
Ours actually
Is it
carries
3
over
months?
into, we start collection of the new sales tax were to pass in May
Okay.
of '27.
There's just a little
Mhm.
difference between, okay.
So I know,
Speaking for the city, obviously being the new public works director and getting my feet wet with all the projects that David mentioned, really look forward to working with the county jointly and making sure that we're working as efficiently as we can into the future, so.
We need to be partners. We need to be working together, and it really needs to be equitable, as close to half and half as we can. So, I think that's what Western Commissioner Otto was kind of.
Subtly suggesting.
Yeah.
Or were you asking if we have another $175,000 in interest somewhere that we can use?
Right, which, as I say, from the county's point, that's
Don't be
been
right
idle,
with us, I mean.
it's idle money that was sitting there for a long time.
And that goes back to when we were gonna put the parkway through, that never terminated, so.
Right, yeah, there's been a lot of, changes that have happened in that whole thought process in that whole area, so.
Okay, we want to do the signing of the quick claim.
If you don't mind,
deeds.
that'd be great.
I've got Architects Alliance who has to be out here early too.
yeah, I appreciate you moving that up just a little bit. So when we did the Business 50 West project a few years back, there was an intersection at, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks.
The intersection, the intersection at Rainbow Drive, we realigned, straightened that up, and so there was excess right-of-way there, and the adjacent landowner had talked to us at the time because he was having to convey an easement and some right-of-way to do the project initially, and so the conversation at that point was, typically the way we handle excess right-of-way is after the project's done and complete. We know exactly everything, where, slope limits, everything, the whole project lays out. And so he approached us within the past year about seeing if he could get this excess right-of-way conveyed to him. And it's a normal thing that we do. We don't necessarily seek people out, but if they ask about it and it is excess to us and not needed by us, we will consider conveying that back. So if you look, I did provide it's a quick claim deed. I did provide that, there's a drawing, and so if you look, you can see the old road, it went straight into Business 50 on a pretty hard angle or skew, we call it. And in doing the new project, we wanted to straighten that up, bring that more in perpendicular. And so you can see the amount of excess area. This is primarily old road right-of-way that is no longer of use to us, and so we would agree that this would be a good thing for the county to do, and I would request that the county commission approve the quitclaim deed to the Woodlands subdivision, and it's owned by John Ruth Jr. Is there any questions?
No, this isn't anything new that we do, so I'm fine with it.
What's the exact language here that we're looking for?
It is
I do.
the signing of the quick claim deed.
I'll make a motion that the commission sign the quick claim deed for excess right-of-way from the Business 50 West project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This is signed by every.
I have. Yours is more official.
Okay, thank you.
So we get you over to the Capitol Brightner.
I appreciate that.
Well, I had a long day. I didn't even have any questions for you.
You know I'm not dressing like him on a daily basis.
Cal Bremer kind of set the stage last week. so-
Yeah, he had a sport coat and shirt and tie on. He was really good. Okay, so we are gonna deviate from our agenda again and go to the proposed new Cole County Juvenile Center budget discussion because Curtis from Architects Alliance is here and you had to be somewhere too, so we'll we'll move that up to the next.
I put it on the agenda, I just wanted to talk about it. I didn't know if Curtis was gonna be here with any updates or not, but if you want to, I just think we got a lot to consider here. It's,
Well, yeah, so basically, since we met last, decided on the $14 million path for the budget for the project, we have then since been reworking the plan to fit within that. We've been reducing square footage and trimming up the building, squaring up the front to get rid of the majority of the bump outs. Right now, we still have a conference room poking out, but we're trying to rework that into the plan. Nonetheless, we got that over to Brian McMillan at Bartlett and West. He reworked the site conditions last week and is saving us some considerable site costs. And I think that's where the majority of our savings is gonna come from, outside of the revisions to the plan. So Mitchell now has that data that Brian sent over, and so Napolz is analyzing that and putting together a cost estimate. We were hoping to have that done by today, but just didn't happen via the timeline. But nonetheless, we'll be following up shortly. Hopefully by next week, we'll have some numbers for you. So ultimately, that's still targeted towards meeting that $14 million for a construction cost. I know that you guys were wanting to know some other things that were for project cost. What is it gonna cost for the entirety of everything? Obviously, we already have our fees that have been under contract for some time. Then we've had, for all of the design team, engineering services, et cetera, that's all under one package, and I think that was at $160,000. Then there is Napolz agreement, which is pre-construction services of a lump sum of $34,000. So their services until we actually go out for construction will be that. And then once construction starts, Napolz, based on those agreements, will be $34,000 per month for general condition fees, and then an overhead total profit take of 2.2% of the construction fee. So that's Napolz's fee, which is still an ongoing fee. Ours is already under contract. Theirs is technically contract, but the construction is not yet. So their only portion to date concerned with is their services up till construction, which is the $34,000. Obviously, you still have to pay for the rest of it once construction happens, but then there were other discussions of additional things that are needed, which is FF&E, so furniture, fixtures, and equipment. As far as what is provided in the construction costs, all the kitchen equipment is included in that cost. All of the secure and detainee side of the facility, where all of that furniture is fixed and adhered to the ground or wall or whatever you have it, that's included in the construction costs. So what we're talking about, that's loose costs direct to the owner, separate from the construction costs, would be your office chairs, desks, computers, copiers, stuff like that. And so based on this size of facility with a historic precedent of what Trainer has just recently completed, for this square foot size project, they were estimating around $350,000 for all new furniture, computers, and stuff like that. That range could technically be $250 to $350. It just depends on what is the actual quantity and material type. So different brands, different makes and models will increase that cost. So I would say $250 is a starting point, and it can be up to $350,000 to, if you want to allocate a larger budget for it.
So what were the total on the design fees? You threw some numbers out there. And
$860,000 was the total package.
That's what I thought I had somewhere was total. That's over top of the 14 million.
Mhm.
And we have the site acquisition, another $402,250.69. I don't know if we got a bill. I think Public Works did some clearing on the site development. We got a bill from them for part of that. And then, what else are we gonna have as far as site development? Is that gonna be a part of the construction?
Yeah, all the site work and everything is included in that package.
Okay, because on one of the preliminary evaluations, it had 351,000. So that's gonna be in with the actual construction budget.
Yes, and all of the civil site survey, engineering, and geotechnical reporting is all part of our
And
fee.
the geotech report is on the design fees too?
Yeah.
So.
I just want to get moving. I mean, the longer we wait, the more expensive it gets every day. With the tariffs and everything else,
Oh, yeah, no, it'll get, next wave will increase costs in April, so I'm just anticipating
We
that.
need to get this all worked out, we need to break ground.
Well, I think as far as plan-wise and getting to that 14 million, I think we're in line. So, as of right now, we don't see any red flags saying that we're not gonna meet that. Obviously, I'm waiting for Naples to get back to us and point us in a direction if we need to, but we have reduced a lot of site work. So we lowered the building 6 feet, which reduces a huge amount of fill, and earthwork moving that would have to happen. And the positioning of our site, we actually kept ourselves from going down into the valley to do the cut and fill exercise, so that we have to fill that valley to bring in the back parking lot side. Us removing half of that gymnasium, shifting the building and bringing it closer to the front drive, we eliminated a lot of excess fill that we don't have to have now, and also lowering that building pad. So there's a huge amount of earthwork, I mean, many thousands and thousands of dollars in savings. So we'll see what that comes out to.
We still had 8 cells.
Yes, yeah, and this is with 8 cells to meet 14 million.
I still question if we need 8 cells. I think we could get it down to 4, and it would help substantially. So, the initial cost is just a part of it, because there's gonna be a whole lot of ongoing costs, which that's not under your control there at all, with your insurance, utilities, maintenance, and everything. So that 14 million is too high of a price tag, and it needs to be cut back some. But I don't know, Toby sent me some numbers for how many detainees you have and stuff. It just doesn't seem like it's there to justify 8 cells.
Jeff, I do want to clarify, and I did not respond to your email, and I apologize. Melissa had asked about following up, and I did not get back to you. When the 1.5 that you inquired about is, when we have, for example, we've had 2 cells filled now since the middle of January. Early January, with a pickup order on a 3rd. One youth was certified yesterday, and he would technically be with us then until he turns 18 or he goes to trial and is found innocent. All of this youth, there were 4 of them involved, and all of them could have been pending certification, which means we would have held all 4 of them until they were 18, if they had all been certified. So we have 2 of the 3 cells occupied for 2 straight months. We are only asking to build at the same size as the next smallest facility in the state. I stick with 8. I think 8 is necessary, and I think
I
that.
thought we had suggested going to 6 cells, and that was gonna save us like $650,000.
I think that there is discussion of going to
So we're back up
6.
to 8.
Yeah, so the 14 million still targets with 8 cells. So in essence, if theoretically, if we can cut off, 2 or a grouping of those cells, yes, that's still a savings. And can you put it back? Yes. So there's square footage and there's a cost to that, and so we can show you what that is.
That's where the most cost is at, is in the secure areas.
Yes,
So
yeah, it's $600 something
that's
dollars. a
why
square
it's
foot.
such a big target, and I know you have a bunch of them right now that could be there, should be there, whatever, but we've also got contracts to house them somewhere else if we have more prisoners or detainees than we do space. And for $7 million, we could do a whole lot, so if we could trim it back a lot, get it back down. I mean, we were originally at around 7 million to redo and add to the existing Pringer Center. So it's just, it's way out of whack with this price tag on there, just in my opinion, so. And then I was trying to figure out where we were at with construction costs, design fees, and the FF&E, and everything else, and what the bottom line was gonna be at that point to get this thing opened up. So, does that include all your stuff too, Brian? No. So, we need to get that in there too.
This is a very small piece of the pie here, but I'll be disappointed if every desk, chair, copy machine, fax machine, whatever, that currently exists is scrapped and doesn't go over to the new place. I mean, I don't think we need 100% new desks, chairs, copy machines, office equipment. That would tell me that you've got nothing but junk there, and I don't believe that's the case. But it's a small piece of what we're talking about, and maybe that's that 250 to 350 number. that
Yeah,
you're-
and obviously, if you keep some of that furniture, that number starts dramatically dropping. So that's more so of an inventory task to go through and identify what you guys think has gone past its useful life and what you think you can live with moving forward.
And that'll be near the end, so that's something we can look at, but yeah, I had thought, we had talked about going down to 6 cells, which is still double what we've got now at the Pringer Center, but.
Yeah, well, at the meeting, we did talk about that, and I think when we walked away, or at least my interpretation is that we were still gonna target 14 because it could still meet the full
I
program.
mean, the last meeting,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
that's when you and Harry said, yep, 14 million is where we're going, which included the 8, because Toby was not wanting to come down off her. She's got her job to do, we got our job to do, so we can, I'm not gonna challenge her to an arm wrestle, she's probably beaten, but.
But again, we can allocate when we come back next week or whenever Napolz is ready to
Yeah.
present that, we can give you what the cost is for the cell. So
Okay.
if we
That
remove the
plate,
cell, what's
yeah,
that cost?
plate,
And then,
yeah.
yeah. So right now, our target was keeping full program to meet 14,
Okay.
and so we'll give you the option to.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
okay,
Thank you.
run to your next meeting.
Thank you, Curtis.
Okay, we will go back to our.
I didn't know this whole meeting, everybody said they had another meeting after this at 10 o'clock, right?
Go.
Resolution, the Blue Shield Community Resolution. Our esteemed Sheriff Wheeler.
So, Governor Kehoe announced the launch of the Blue Shield program for communities that's to recognize communities dedicated to effective law enforcement and community safety. Once we get this designation, there should be up to $10 million we could apply for in grants. There's 10 different criteria that you have to be qualified for this. And we already are in compliance with everything except for the one, and that's this resolution that you have before you today. So, once you complete that, hopefully by the end of the week, I'd be able to submit to the state so that we would be designated Blue Shield community.
So, did you send that to Melody too?
Jill had it, I don't know, she did not bring it. I can get a copy of it.
I don't
Yeah.
have it, so.
It figures, okay.
Are we gonna do a real pretty one in the frame and everything? for
I
it?
had no idea, I just was wanting it printed, so. They're printing it.
Okay. So do we wanna make a motion to endorse and sign the Blue Shield Community Resolution?
I want to see the fool who wants to vote against this.
I'm already picking on the Pringer Center, so the youth center. Might be in trouble there.
Let's give them language.
Okay, yeah.
You got any accounts payable today?
No.
Yeah. Even the clerk, just been kinda, give it to the sheriff to come on and prepare out that back when he was in school. He always forgot his papers too.
While we're stalled for a minute, we don't really have an old business, but we can bring up old business, right?
Yes.
Hey, Bill, could we talk about the AEDs that have come in?
Sure.
And for the audience, that's tell them what AED stands for.
I'll make.
I'm sorry, Bill,
But-
that is under the bids and
Yeah, it's
contract
on
portion
there.
Oh,
here.
I'm sorry. It's already here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we can jump down there anyway, right?
Yeah, we've jumped around.
I think I emailed you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I got another one, I got pictures of this one.
Do you have it, Sheriff?
I have it.
Back
Sorry.
to
Regularly scheduled.
Blue Shield Community Resolution.
I'll make a motion that the commission sign a resolution to demonstrate Cole County's commitment to public safety and crime reduction, which we will call the Blue Shield Community Resolution.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Farr?
Okay, thank you. So in looking back, I've found minutes from February of 2024, when the Cole County Public Safety meeting, I think, decided that there was a need to update all the AEDs in the county buildings. Many years ago, I think we purchased 5, and they were a Phillips brand, which we found that EMS and most of the fire used those, so the context was to update all the county buildings of what EMS uses and local fire service. So in that, I think the commission approved the purchase of the AEDs some time ago. So when we got those in, we re-met a few weeks ago, and we looked at what we have now and what we need to fulfill that. So I think at the time, there was 14 AEDs that we purchased with the approval of the commission. What they didn't do was look at the cabinets to put them in, like the one in the hallway, you see the cabinet. So in looking at all that and what each department needs, I kind of give you a list of a rundown, what we had and what we need. So we still need to buy 3 additional AEDs and 10 cabinets at a total cost of $7,727.40. Included with that would be a sign above that announcing that you can see at a distance where the AED is located. So I think this would complete the project. So we decided to, the committee decided to bring that forward to commission to approve the purchase of the remaining few to complete all the project that was originally submitted.
In the original project, weren't there some cabinets purchased then?
No?
No, there were 6 cabinets approved when we approved,
Okay.
Was there?
but we never ordered them. They were never ordered whenever Nick was here. So Bill came in to reassess the situation. So now we're needing to get approval for 4 more cabinets, 10 total, and then actually ordering them.
Right. Yeah, my first day here, the AEDs showed up, so they're still sitting on a pallet, 14. Well, we put 3 in the health department, we replaced their old units. So that helped out some too, but as you see, listed present locations, and that's the desire of each department that's represented here. What we had in the building before, like the courthouse, we had 1 down in the kiosk, and the annex, we had 1 on the wall.
You can't close that door, can't close it, it's open meeting.
In Public Works. So that's kind of where we're at to complete the project. I think this would complete it with these additional costs. And that should be the red sheet.
So the Brenner Center did not have any AED?
They had an AED, but there was not a cabinet.
Okay.
Yeah,
It was on a cart.
it's just on a cart where they could move it around when they needed to.
So what did we approve before? I'm totally confused, I guess.
They're 14.
We approved 14 AEDs
AED.
before and 6 cabinets before.
14,
14, yep.
Yep, that's what,
14 AED, actual AEDs were approved before.
right,
And
Then
6,
how many cabinets?
6 cabinets
6 cabinets,
and no wall signs.
right.
0 signs.
I kind of add those wall signs so you can look down the hallway and see that sign sticking out. So if someone's in a hurry, which they will be, that kind of designate where it's at and where it's located. It's not that expensive an item, actually.
I thought we had an extended amount of discussion about these before, so.
Was there someone who said we don't need AEDs in our place, but when they came in, they said, oh, we'll take 3?
No, I know of, wasn't it?
Yes, the health department did not
They did.
ask for new.
Well, you know-
When we did that discussion.
Only thing I found was a bunch of handwritten notes. And I did find where this here health department had 3 listed.
They had
So
3
this
on
was
site.
before Bill.
Huh?
This was,
Way before me.
Yes.
Yes, this wasn't Bill that came in and made the first presentations.
Right.
No,
yes.
That's,
that was Nick and the committee. So I didn't know about the cabinet, sorry. So I think before we spent 24,000 on 14 AEDs. This is the receipt that I have. Is that right, Jess? I think.
What is the lifespan of an AED?
Yeah,
I
this
know
is right.
everything, as soon as we get it, starts,
I know the Phillips, the big deal was the batteries. We get about 1.5 years out of the battery, but they was $100 a pack there. So I think that's the original.
Yeah,
invoice
we
there.
did the 14 AED machines back in November.
Yeah.
And that's all that was ordered. There was no cabinets ever ordered or anything like that. So bills came back in and
Yeah, I think it's important to have the cabinets.
but we need them, and then we need to train everybody so we know how to.
And that's another part of this here with the health department. They're doing CPR and AED training,
Yeah.
setting that up for the
You
departments
know,
that
I
work.
might know where it is, but if I don't know how to use it,
I don't know, as far as longevity, Eric, you might be able to.
Yeah, so usually span of life's about 10 years from a product standpoint. Batteries are more frequent, I'd say probably every couple of years. The new machines are using commercial batteries, so if you open up the battery pack is, just 20 A batteries, all in a line. So the batteries are cheaper to maintain because they are not like special lithium batteries built proprietary for the machine. So they're cheaper to maintain in that aspect.
That's kind of where we're at. I mean, I kind of had to look, and Tracy helped me a lot, looking through old minutes and scribble notes, to see what all was here.
we think the 3 additional, was from the health department that we're ordering now. Because from what we've gathered, they weren't on Nick's original list. So that's where the additional 3 is coming from, but they've already got 3 of the new ones.
they're obsolete. What the 3
Their,
they have-
their other ones were just old, so.
How old?
I don't know.
Because they offered them to us. Instead of us getting 3 new ones, they offered that their old machines come
the
to the
annex building.
annex to be used instead of us getting new machines.
that's just for the commissioners.
That I had
No,
no,
They didn't care if they were dead.
no.
I had no clue.
I don't know exactly what happened here, this was, like I said before, Bill. We need cabinets more.
Yes.
I don't remember the conversation for not having cabinets.
Yeah.
I thought
Well,
we
we-
talked about it and extended out the time.
We approved 6, and why they weren't ordered, we
Because
can't
Nick
answer
left,
that.
right, just within a couple weeks is when he
Yeah.
resigned.
Yeah,
and
because
left.
literally the day he left is when these all came in, the AEDs arrived.
I have no problem in buying what we need. I do have a problem if somebody passed on getting new ones, said we don't need them, and then when the new ones came in, they said, well, take 3. And if that's what happened, that should not have happened. They could have said at that point, we need 3 now, not we're gonna take 3 that somebody else ordered.
And then what do we do with the 3 that they replaced that are
Well,
supposedly
Are they
still good?
outdated? What does that mean, that they're not usable?
What we were
Or they're
told
not?
in the meeting that happened last week was that they had been serviced regularly, every 30 days, they were still working. My understanding is that the only real difference between the new and what they had is that the logo font is a little bit different. I don't know the age of the 3 they took out, but they were offered to the annex. Since you all still need 3, y'all can have ours, old ones.
I think they would
Which is a
put
little
in,
ridiculous.
if I recall, I think they put in AEDs when we bought the building and remodeled it for the health department.
Which was when?
I don't remember,
6 years ago.
6, 7 years ago.
So they're 6 out of 10 years.
I thought the whole reason we bought the AEDs that we did is because they're compatible with EMS.
That's what I thought too.
That's exactly right.
And we wanted to make sure that everyone's
The Zoll
trained
are-
on the same.
Right,
Yes.
the Zolls are the Phillips were, they'd have to change pads and everything,
So,
right?
I'm a little hesitant to get involved in this situation because I've been
Take a
way
seat.
off in the periphery.
You have to sit down.
So I think there are a couple different aspects of this conversation. As an agency, we utilize Zoll products, which means that the patches that actually make the machine work are manufactured by Zoll, and they have a proprietary connector on them. So what that allows us to do is when we get there, we can hook up if the AED's already been placed and we don't have to change out pads. The only issue, if it's a different manufacturer, is the fact that you'd have to take the pads off and put new ones on. Not that big of a deal. So I don't know what the health department has, I don't know what they have changed out or what the service life is. The amount that I've been involved in this conversation was I sent an email maybe a month ago now, just giving pause and asking why any of our buildings would need 3+ AEDs. Even in the largest building, which is the courthouse, I believe 2 AEDs would be more than sufficient for that entire space. While I understand the need to, or the request to have one on every level or in every aspect of every building, the truth of the matter is we would get much more bang for our buck ensuring that those devices were available on the property, all county properties, as opposed to having 3 or 4 in one location. So that was my only contribution to this. There have also been various conversations about CPR and AED training. EMS has been on the periphery of those, so I don't know what that conversation is or how we've been asked to engage, because we haven't been asked to engage up until this point. So that's kind of where I sit with this project. I support the AEDs. I think we can make a plan to make all of those AEDs disappear and be in strategic locations. I don't know why, especially even at the health department, why you would need 3 in one building. So that's my 2 cents.
So from what I take from that is EMS is paying for this.
Absolutely not.
He's always trying to push it open, Gary.
But we do have EMS very close to our building, and so response time would be fast.
Wow.
Christie sent the original list, and it does have courthouse 2, public works 2, Bringer 3, health department 3. So somewhere the math is just different. So maybe health department was on there. Do we need to revisit where we need to put these in? I think that's kind of the way it sounds.
Did you guys discuss that in the meeting this?
This past meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
I think
We
that was
did.
pretty well.
My
We discussed it, but
not the exact location.
No, not the exact location in the buildings. We
Okay.
discussed the numbers and
Okay.
So do we have 14 ordered? Is that in
We have
front?
14 are here
14 are here.
Right,
on a
well,
pallet
11.
at the ESB.
So why do you need 17 AEDs and only
No, you need-
10 cabinets, it says?
we're gonna
Because
use
we already
one.
had cabinets at some
The
places.
old cabinets do work for the new ones?
Yeah, same
Okay.
size.
We just need cabinets for locations that don't have cabinets right now.
Okay. I wasn't getting that part either.
So we've got, the 14 are here, perhaps we need to look at the locations and just work with the 14 we've got here rather than ordering 3 more. And,
Yeah, I don't think we.
We will let EMS decide where they should be.
Well, I don't necessarily want to take over this project. I think we would be more than happy to get involved. I think to answer the question, no, we do not need to order more AEDs. Whether we have 14 brand new ones sitting on a pallet, and if there's 3 more that are serviceable, that gives us 17 to decide where to go. I think the conversation that needs to be had is, where are we putting them and how many cabinets do we need? I believe that you have determined that you need 4 additional cabinets.
We need to order all 10. No
10.
cabinets have been ordered.
No,
6
no,
were
yeah.
approved in a commission meeting.
10 cabinet.
But never ordered.
But if we don't order these 3, do we, are part of the 10 that we're saying we need to go with these 3 that we're looking at ordering again? So could it take it down to 7 cabinets we need to order?
10.
We need 10 cabinets even if we stay with the 14.
Mhm.
Okay.
10 cabinets and AED signs.
So I would feel comfortable if the committee is requesting to order the 10 cabinets, and then it's just a conversation of where does maintenance put them?
Yes.
I thought that was EMS.
That's what I heard.
No, we do not do construction.
No, then I would think let's just order the cabinets.
And the wall signs.
And the
Yeah.
wall signs, yes, we need to know where they are, you really do.
Yeah. Didn't we use one, Larry, someone several years ago?
Yes.
Paying
A
their
guy went down.
taxes
outside
went
our-
down, they come up, got the AEDs? Yeah, downstairs. Remember that.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to order 10 cabinets, period.
Yes. And
And
signs.
wall
And
signs.
sign, and wall signs.
And wall signs if needed,
14, yeah.
Yeah.
which each one needs. All right. My motion is 10 cabinets with 10 wall signs.
10 signs or 14?
14 signs.
14 signs.
14 total.
That doesn't include the 3 new, 14 signs.
Let's rewind.
Well, we've
I'll
got,
make a motion to order 10 cabinets and 14 signs.
Okay.
Second.
all in favor?
I'd like to discuss it for a while. No.
I appreciate you
Yes, we do.
being in charge of AED.
You
That'd be
get
cheap.
well, great education. Yeah.
Thank you.
Also, Chief Gibson.
You'll send Chief Gibson.
Okay, so again, that was,
I had no idea
that was down there, we'll go back to bids and contracts, approval and signing of claim release to the city of Jefferson.
This is just a claim release with the city of Jefferson from one of their city buses hit one of our EMS vehicles. We sent it to Extreme, and then the city is paying that bill.
I do not know how the financial mechanisms are at play. I don't know if we paid the bill and they're reimbursing us, or if we sent the bill directly.
From my understanding, we sent the bill to the city and they're paying Extreme.
Okay,
Okay.
what she said.
I saw the emails going back and forth, so
Yeah.
everything's in order.
Mm-hmm.
Jill, you looked at it, and
Yes.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve and sign the claim release to the city of Jefferson.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And we did the signing of quick claim deed already, right?
Yes.
We did that, so we will go discussion and approval of Meyer Electric quote for video surveillance system update.
That needs to be tabled until next week.
Table, okay. Okay. Approval of TextMyGov contract for the collector's office.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
This is a texting service that the collector's office is gonna sign up with and allows us the ability to send text to taxpayers for various functions, as well as a link to our website. It's gonna be, collector's office is gonna pay for this out of the tax maintenance fund, so no, in reality, no cost to the county for this service. It's a 24-hour-a-day service, has all kinds of uses. We can use it even for sending out tax bills, delinquent information, senior tax credit information. I've talked to several other collectors that have been using this program. They think it's working very well in their counties. I'm just asking for your all's approval of the agreement. It's basically a 3-year agreement. About, I think we're approximately about a $10,000 cost the first year and $7,500 the next 2 years.
You're paying for it?
I'm just curious if I've glanced over at the IT director, if there's any bad stuff that come out of this text versus email versus snail mail versus a phone call, but he's shaking his
I
head.
haven't seen this, so I don't know.
But you know other collectors in other counties that are using it?
Yes, I do.
And then they sign up for it, pick which messages they want to know, and
They'll set up a whole, automatic answering to text and automatic notifications going out, all kinds of, unique services.
reminders and
Yeah.
stuff that your property taxes haven't been paid yet, it's December 30th, you better.
We could set it up to do that, yeah.
You need to go in and renew your senior tax freeze, so. Okay. Cool. You all good?
I'm good.
I think so.
I just need Sam's.
Yeah, I can sign it right here if you want.
That'd be great, because I need to take it and have Mark sign it also. Or have Dawn get Mark to sign it if she wants the original, before she gives me a copy.
Since it's a multi-year contract, the auditor's statement contains a provision that subsequent years are subject to appropriation.
I forgot to mention that I did forward the contract to Jill. She looked it over and had the company add the specific certification of auditor to it.
And Mark said that works for him.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. I'll make a motion to approve the TextMyGov contract for the collector's office.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
If
This-
you'll sign yours, Sam, then I'll take it with me and get Mark's
Everybody's in
signature.
such a hurry today.
It's such a chore to sign. So time consuming.
Well, it's a good thing I'm not signing Samuel Milton was before, that does take a while.
Steve has to sign.
Our initial every page.
He has to
Okay.
attest to everything Sam signed, he has to attest to it.
Yeah, it has Steve attest.
Okay.
Okay.
Whether you need it now.
Okay, discussion of the Safe Kids trailer storage and emergency management.
Okay, let me get this all straightened out. Again, I got pictures of Jessica. Probably
Yeah, we've
I read your
already-
emails.
Yeah, no, I.
Yeah, I don't need to
I
pay
saw
some.
that, yeah.
I thought mine.
So the history of this was, several years ago, the county fire associate, or the Cole County Chiefs Association, there was a Safe Kids trailer that was purchased many years ago through, DOT, MoDOT. What had been sitting outside for years and was pretty well defunct. Roof was leaking, windows was leaking. So they did a big campaign and raised enough money in the community to buy and build a brand new unit, and the picture that you see attached. So through the years, with the kindness of Missouri American Water, the big water tower out by off 179, that's been parked inside there. With their expansion, they need that moved. So Jeff City Fire Department has been housing it there and just needed a place to put it inside where it's out of the weather. It's a very nice system, as you see. It teaches all the children in certain grades in Jeff City, Cole County, the rural schools. Holt Summit Schools uses it. So what the departments in the Chiefs Association, they pay a fee every year per their radio calls, And that provides the insurance coverage for any maintenance that might be needed, tires or whatever. So what the request is to move this, and thankful with Eric, find a location in the very back of the ESB building where it can be housed. And the fire departments, that's usually in October, is National Fire Prevention Week. This has been going on for many, many years. So Fire Prevention Week is observed the week of October 9th. And that's in commemoration of the Great Chicago Fire, which began in 1871. It caused 250 people died, left 100,000 people homeless, and about 18,000 structures were burned. So if most of you all remember in school, you learned to stop, drop, and roll. This has really aggressed farther than that. They can go in there, it's all virtual, they can actually see a stove on fire from a grease fire. There's smoke machines in there to teach the kids how to get down low and crawl out, as you see some of the pictures on where they're coming out of a back window on a ladder, how to escape a house. So it's very, very vital. I just knew that whenever the request came in, you know, the issue with parking something that's not owned by the county in a county building was an issue in the past. That's why I wanted to get the commission's approval to do this. Again, it's fully insured. The Chiefs Association, who Sheriff Wheeler is the president of. There you go, take that out of his budget.
We actually had the ambulance parked over there.
Yeah.
But ever since Eric took control of the AED program, he's got a big head now, and he threw me out of the building, so.
Anyway, I just wanted to make sure there's approval with the commission. And that's a whole, I knew you was okay with it. Just wanted to kind of bring you a little bit of the history.
Not fine. Do we need some kind of motion for that, or just a, okay?
I think it's a good idea to have it on.
I do too. I do too.
Okay. I'll make the motion then to approve the Safe Kids trailer storage at the emergency management building.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Chiefs
At least brought
Association.
us a little fire van or something.
I'll get you one.
Okay. Assessor's MOU with the Missouri State Tax Commission compliance status.
Let's move it till next week.
Table that. Then, do we have anything else to come before us before we go into closed session? Okay. I would give you a motion to go into closed session, please.
Pursuant to section 610.021 of the revised statutes of Missouri, the commission will go into closed session to discuss the following. Existing or proposed security systems under section 610.021, subsection 20, and personnel issues under section 610.021, subsection 3.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Sam,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes. Need to discuss something, Greg? You got it?
Just wanted to give you an update on the heating and cooling for your building.
Too late.
Okay, bye.
Air conditioner's not working.
Yeah, all the new units have been installed in all the offices. They tested all the piping yesterday, almost 400 foot of new pipe fixtures, 90s, one pinhole. So, I gotta replace a small piece of pipe, which is a good deal. They're hoping